Hey, it's Michael, and this is the Kintsugi Podcast. I'll be back in a minute with today's conversation about resilience. But first, if you're interested in creating a better life, having a better career, please visit KintsugiPodcast.com and grab your free workbook on how to have a better life. In it, you'll discover tips and routines so you can find the energy for the things and the people who matter most, so you can create a better tomorrow and create the life and career you desire. I recorded this conversation about resilience when the coronavirus first hit the panic button here in the United States. And I think human beings are amazing. Actually, I know they are. We have a superpower among many that allows us to hold two different thoughts or more in our head at the same time. We can acknowledge the pain and suffering of today's given moment, but we can also see the seeds of opportunity that will allow us to create a better tomorrow from this disruption. This conversation is about how to turn or how to make lemonade from our most sour of lemons, and I hope you like it. And if you have a question about today's conversation, or really anything else, please visit KintsugiPodcast.com and leave your question there, and I will try to answer it on a future conversation about resilience. Hey there, it's Michael. Well, I think it's time for all of us to catch our breath, don't you? You can do one with me. Now it feels a little bit better because with COVID-19, the stock market, a threat of a recession, our consistent political kerfuffle, there's a whole bunch to be anxious about. And I know it's probably hard to find the calm within all of this chaos. There's a saying that this too shall pass. It aligns with the Buddhist principle that everything is impermanent. Everything passes, like one breath to another. Some would consider it a universal truth. But when we're in it, as we're in it right now, or at least just the start, it's hard to see a way out. It's hard to remember to breathe and identify what we have control over. Because even in these moments, the moment that we've just started, we have more control than we realize. And I say this from experience. Many of you know the story about my last bad day. So it comes from that experience, but also living through a whole bunch of recessions. I started my professional career in a recession and also seeing how we came together after 9/11. I know we will get through this one as well, even though we're just starting and we may not know how much longer this is going to last. Well, this week I was reminded by something a mentor told me during my last bad day recovery. He told me, hey, Michael, all the events in your life are neutral until you label them. Be wise about the labels you choose. And yes, right now, there's a ton of information out there. Just take a look at your Facebook feed. And most of it's well-intended, but it all doesn't align. So it's hard to make sense of what's real. It's hard to know how to label all of this. So it's natural to be worried because during this period of time, there'll be pain. We will lose folks to COVID. People will lose their jobs. We may go into a recession. And we all want to feel safe. And we also want to do the right things. And I know many of us feel like this just stinks to be disrupted in this manner. But this is also life. And it can also be an opportunity to come together, to help those who need support, to recommit to medical science, to get smarter about paid sick leave or working remotely, or just recommitting to our health, because we know if we don't have our health, we don't have much. So instead of seeing this as a complete disaster, we can find morsels of goodness within it. We can be known by how we respond to this versus just reacting to it. And although we will practice a little bit of, hey, don't stand so close to me, we don't need to be isolated. So make sure you're connecting with others during this time. Ask for help. There's no shame in asking for support when you need support. I had to learn that through my recovery. And even if it's just a friendly ear to bend to help you realize that you're not alone, that you're not the only one feeling worried or anxious or frustrated by this, that might be a really good use of your time. And if you do feel anxious or frustrated, don't try to repress it. Invite it in to sit next to you. Maybe perhaps just dance with it differently to help you shift your perspective. Because if you try to repress it, it's going to persist. Because being worried or overwhelmed is completely natural during a period like this. But don't give it any more fuel than it deserves. This is how you can prevent a bad moment like we're going through right now from turning into something more significant, like a bad day, a week, a month, or even longer. Because ultimately, we have more control than we realize. So grab your PBR, R type, the pause, breathe, and reflect type. Remember your gratitude practice and think about your labels. And also know this, have confidence that this too shall pass. And if you have doubts that it will, reach out to someone. You can call me. And if you have a team, I'd be happy to do a virtual webinar with them to help them through this moment in time. And that's free of charge because I think we need to come together more than ever at this particular moment. I also hope that we learn something positive about ourselves, about each other that will help create a better tomorrow when this does pass. Because after it's over, going back to our old ways seems such a wasted opportunity. Please share this with someone who you believe needs support as we go through this period of time. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and let me know how you're feeling through all this chaos. And are you close to shifting your perspective? And of course, until next week, I hope you have fun storming the castle. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening. And I will be back in a minute to answer this week's question about why do I always say, have fun storming the castle. But first, if you wish to strengthen your leadership skills and create a better life and career, as well as preventing those bad moments that we all have from turning into a bad day, then check out my Leadership Academy via KintsugiPodcast.com. I built it for leaders who don't have access to a traditional executive coach, but who are thirsty for more. They're eager to create a better tomorrow. Again, you can go to KintsugiPodcast.com to find the link so you can discover how to create a better life. This week's question comes in from Chris. Chris writes, why do you always say, have fun storming the castle after every blog, video, and conversation about resilience? Well, Chris, this is a great question, a lighthearted one to get us going. The line, as you probably know, is from The Princess Bride, and that's one of my favorite movies. And that 2-minute scene combines great purpose, trying to pursue true love, a strong Peloton, those guys trying to rescue Princess Buttercup, a little self-doubt, some resilience, and slaying all the haters out there that don't believe that the impossible is possible. And so I look at that line as thinking big and doing big things. And everything is possible with a proper mindset and the right Peloton behind you. That's why I end every blog piece and every video and every conversation about resilience with that line to remind people that we can do amazing things when we come together with the right mindset. Thanks again for listening and being part of my Peloton. If you haven't already, please subscribe and share this with someone in your Peloton. And until our next conversation about resilience, have fun storming the castle.